Hey everyone, my name's Randy Searles. I'm a Ranger, ex-Ranger, ex-Green Beret. Had 20 some years in the military, and now I'm a book coach and a developmental editor and a ghostwriter. And I spend a lot of time with veterans, helping tell their stories. And I'm here with my buddy Dan, who used to be a client of mine, and now he does this wacky thing with me. And I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey, Randy, thanks. Dan Pace here, retired Special Forces guy, looking to transition out of the full-time workplace and into full-time writership. So, Randy and I get together once a week to just talk through the pits and perils and best and worst practices of making that jump and figuring out how to, put your thoughts on paper in a coherent way. So, thanks for having me on again.
Yep. And we don't usually have a lot of guests, but we had one last week and now we have one this week. So we have Lizette Alvarez, who's the daughter of a veteran who has a really great story. And she's been working with John, her father, to write their memoir. And I asked her to come on here because Dan's about to release his second memoir, and he's already, walked this ground and made the errors and hopefully won't make them again. And this is a good opportunity for you to ask all your questions that I couldn't answer last time we spoke, and get the ground truth from Dan. So if you want to introduce yourself, I think I got it. But if you got anything else to say, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Just background. I am a audio producer. I do primarily audio drama as my background. So this will be my very first published, even self-published book. So I'm really excited to go through this process. This memoir has been 10 years in the making. The first draft that was just, a gift to my dad. I gave him for I think it was Christmas 10 years ago. So this has been a long journey, but his story has been obviously a large part of my life as a military brat, and I'm excited to one, get a better understanding of what this process looks like at this stage of preparing for publishing, and also just enjoying the experience of creating and fine tuning as well.
Perfect. And your dad just showed up. I'm gonna let him in.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Com
Yeah.
check.
Yeah, great, John. I just want to introduce you to Dan. He just finished he's just finished his second memoir, and he's about to launch it. So this is why I got you guys on here, so you can talk to him and learn best practices and pitfalls, and he can answer all the questions that I couldn't answer for you.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, thanks for hosting this, guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, especially I guess yeah, on this journey, and we're still learning, and
Yeah.
a little nervous about I was just talking to one of the SEALs in the story, and Jeremy said it. So Jeremy said we could use his name, Full Up. He goes, I'm tired. He goes, I'm tired about reading about another firefight. He goes, you need to tell this story, John. So he was involved in the Red Wings. I mean, he's a retired Master Chief. And he was one of the guys that worked on me in the canoe to keep me alive. More complicated than that, but I just spoke to him this morning, and he wholeheartedly said, put my name in it. He goes, I didn't put my name in Marcus Luttrell's book. I did not put it in some of the other books. I did not want my name. He goes, I want my name in this book.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Crazy connections this journey has created.
So I'm gonna I just want to give a real quick introduction to how we met. I think they found me online, but
Yeah.
it was really fortuitous because, John was flying helicopters for 7th Group all over South America, which is where I spent most of my career, and he did a lot of other crazy stuff. When you read his memoir, he's been all over the world flying aircraft, and then after he got injured, he went back and was flying again. So that's like the amazing part of their story. And so, Lizette, John, whichever wants to take the lead, we're here to ask Dan all his experience for this. So, go ahead if you got your list out.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big questions that I want to get a better understanding of is when you plan to do a self-published memoir versus a traditionally published memoir, part of it has to do with, I think, timeline. You don't want to go through the long process of getting other gatekeepers to get in the way of your story, right? We're looking at a timeline now where we're refining to get ready for the publication in May. So when you're considering your marketing plan from your timeline, especially if you have any experience in kind of an aggressive publication timeline of 2 months or less of okay, I plan to publish and this is my plan to market. What are some of the things that you found were things that make the process go by with more efficiency versus something that you found really kind of tripped you up in some areas, especially when it comes to blending the marketing strategy and the public actual publication strategy?
No, that is super challenging. So just to be upfront, this is my fourth. This will be my fourth book, and it is all self-taught learning in terms of marketing strategy. So there are probably better experts than me out there, but I can tell you, as a self-published guy with Amazon being my focal platform, at least some of the best practices that I've identified. So the timeline, it gets tricky, right? So you can pull the trigger on a pre-release on Amazon about 30 days before you actually final publish, right? So I'm sure you all know that, just going through KDP and trying to put together your book. Okay, so for example, my book's going to launch 1 May, and so 1 April is going to be my pre-release. You can start selling ebooks on pre-release 30 days prior. You can't sell hard copies, but you can sell ebooks. And again, if I'm telling you things you already know, then apologies. That to me, that's when I start marketing. I have let rumors drip out. I've talked a little bit on podcasts about an upcoming book and the memoir that's coming out. And I've had some questions on social media from people who are like, hey, I heard the next prequel's coming out. I'm really looking forward to reading that. But I don't do anything on formal advertising until that pre-release is live, because one, there's just the straight cost of it. Anytime you start opening up that advertising budget, whether you're going to do it on Meta or Amazon ads, or another platform, those are the two that I'm most familiar with, you're going to be spending money. And so the second you spend money on those clicks, to me, I want the opportunity to get a conversion out of that, so that if you're going to spend 40 cents on a click that I got to pay for, I would at least like the chance that you will click purchase on that pre-release. The reason also this time I'm focused heavily on the pre-release, and I did one Kickstarter in the middle too. So we probably won't talk that unless you have questions, but if you want to do that, we can talk that later. But back to this. If you want to talk, the reason I tie it specifically to that pre-release is because all of your pre-release sales will stack into your day one sales. So any ebooks you sell during those first 30 days will drive up your day one sales rating and can help you hit that kind of critical launch window, right? Because Amazon's algorithm immediately starts chewing your book up with all the other books. And if you can hit a strong day one, if you can get those first 10 days sales and particularly some follow-on reviews in those first couple of weeks, you can really start to make your book move. But again, you can't sell a hard copy before that. You can't sell a hard copy before during the pre-release period. Although if you look, there's a few ways around that. If you list something on Ingram, you can actually kind of like backdoor sell on Amazon. I don't get into that. It's a little complicated, but the ebook is really, I think, where you're going to drive that. So to me, you want to start hot and heavy on that day. I'm going to start my Amazon ads campaign and my Meta campaign to basically just reinforce the two, primary drivers. I'm going to build my marketing material before that. So I'm going to build a few pre-release images that I can use on LinkedIn, Facebook, and then I'm going to try Amazon's A+ features now. I haven't done that previously because you have to be enrolled in KDP. I hadn't been enrolled in KDP before. I do recommend it now. Haven't tried it out. I think it's actually a pretty strong option. But then you can use that as to kind of build out the page of your book a little cooler with more visual stuff. So that was a long answer and it went a lot of ways, but does that cover what you're looking for?
Yes, it does. I actually have a follow-up. So with pre-release, is the ebook available to download for pre-release, or is it's just like a pre-release? You get like a as soon as it goes live, they get access to the file, the ebook file. Okay.
100%. Now you can work a true pre-release through like BookFunnel or another option if you want to sell direct. I don't sell direct digitally just because, and I did for a year and a half, but it conflicts directly with Kindle Unlimited. You can't legally do both. Right. And so but that's just the play I use. But if you want to sell direct, we could talk that as another straight one altogether.
So
I think
yeah, let me follow up on that exact thing you said. So, and again, a lot of this was also, we talked to Randy, and then, Chat PT and Gemini, right?
Yeah, me too.
And with the AI recommended is almost pretty much in line with Randy, about, hey, everything drives to your website. At least that's where Lisette was a strategist too for online stuff. So, the website hasn't gone live yet. And it's the name of the book, and the book is Walk, Run, Fly Again. It's an LLC. So we're keeping all the, like the IP and, all the profits, everything's going to go through that instead of like Lisette or me or both of us. Right. So my question with you on the release with KDP, and you said that there was if we were going to go, sell direct, because we were looking at this hybrid model that ebook, paperback, and a version of the hardcover were going to go that way, and that we were going to do a high quality, book with the jacket and the pictures inside, and we're going to use Ingram Sparks for that.
Mhm.
Is there's and again, I would assume that's a separate IBSN number, right?
It is.
For-
Yeah.
Right.
ISBN, sure.
ISBN, and I assume there's a separate one for the hardcover that we sell on Kindle, because it's the cheaper version of that,
Yeah, Amazon.
and then the high res or high quality cover, but with the jacket that we sell on Ingram Sparks. So, and I'm assuming, and there'll be some direct sales, because we're going to do the same with Ingram Sparks. We're going to do I'm going to try to pre-order a bunch, take them to the to trade show. Our goal is to actually have them at Soft Week in Tampa, right?
That's awesome.
And Stu Braden, Stu, do you guys know Stu?
I know who he is. I've
Yeah.
never
All
met
right.
personally.
Yeah. So I deployed with him once to Southcom when we were both on active duty. So, and when he stood up the Global Soft Foundation, I got our company to help and all that stuff. So we go way back. And I mean, he's literally giving me table space for free at the event.
That's amazing.
And so our plan, I'm like, that's what he said, and I told him, I go, dude, I don't know. Our goal is to have some in hand so I can sign them and hand them out to the bros, right? Sell them, obviously sell them and hand them out. So I'm assuming, that part is direct sales. And then we're also going to have,
QR code for them to get to.
If they're going to order it
either
through Ingram
pre-sale
Sparks, so that we don't have to spend a ton of money up front to, order like 1,000 books, right?
Yep.
Especially at that rate, at that, cost per copy. Do you see any issues there legally? Because you had mentioned you can't do the direct sales stuff if you're doing some of the stuff.
Or is that just for Kindle Unlimited?
That is truly only for the ebook version. So to answer a bunch of your questions, yes. So first, there's no conflict with selling hardcover direct or paperback or any other
just ebook
binding than the ebook. You just can't distro the ebook off Amazon platform if you want to use Kindle Unlimited. Now, if you don't care about Kindle Unlimited, you can also sell direct off your site through like a QR code or something else digitally as well. It's just in my experience, I sell so many more on Kindle Unlimited with like their page rate on Amazon than I ever do direct, that it's completely not worth it to me to market that ebook any other way. Now, the directs you're talking about, one, yes, absolutely go on Bowker. Go ahead and buy that 10-pack of ISBNs up front.
We already did. Yeah.
We got it.
We got it. We just haven't assigned them yet. I'm very superstitious about that stuff. And I'm like, okay, Lisette, let's figure out which number we want to assign to the ebook and which one.
It's true. I mean, and there's all the details you just don't know about until you start doing it. Now, in terms of advertising, how you're stacking all that together, I know what you're talking about. Direct sales. I run my own website. I do direct sales off my website too, and I will primarily run meta ads to point to my website for the reasons you're talking about. You want to get that direct sale if you can, because you keep a lot more money than if you sell it through Amazon. However, what I will say is, for the purposes of your pre-release, I do strongly recommend pointing all your sales to Amazon during that window, because the Amazon pre-sales and getting that day one sales rate. I did a Kickstarter for my last book. I sold I don't know, a couple hundred copies on Kickstarter, but it ate almost all of my day one Amazon sales. So
Wow.
the book kind of lagged a little on the algorithm because I made more money selling direct, which was great, but I kind of cheated the book out of some of its initial performance by not just driving everybody right to Amazon up front. Now, once the book's kind of established, I'd say you get your first 25 reviews. It's going to move itself. You can just do pay-per-click advertising on Amazon for that book. Then, of course, I moved my advertising back to my site because, as you said, direct copies are better. The only other thing I'd say on direct sales, I have used Ingram Spark printing. I prefer Book Vault printing in terms of just quality and price. I encourage you to at least look at that as an option. I don't get paid by Book Vault or anything, but I found them to be easier to work with than Ingram in terms of getting like a high quality book in hand in a reasonable time frame. I do basically the same thing you did. I did a deluxe edition and then a normal edition. I just found them easier to make the book that I was looking for, but I just offer that as an alternative. But obviously, if it works for you, take it.
Do they have a state, like, so in other words, if someone just goes, to direct buy the book from Book Vault, does it get shipped from the UK, or do they have a stateside sub or something
shipping.
that
They do. So they do stateside shipping, and their integration with Wix and Shopify to me was really easy to work with, and I really liked it. I also like their price model because Wix and Shopify pay me. I used Wix. I'm switching to Shopify now, but they pay me directly for the sale, and then Book Vault is just a separate business expense. So from like just an expense management point of view, it's very easy because I get my income from one site, I pay my outs to the other site, and all I have to do is make sure that the prices match between them. But that's just how I run it. It's obviously there's 100 ways you could do it, but that's how I've had luck in the last 2 years.
All right. So since, obviously, military memoirs and stuff, my next question is on the marketing side. Have you done, the BX exchange, sale, not to put it on their website or sell it, but actually go to the local BXs and do like a book sale signing thing? Have you done that? And if you have, like, what have you learned, how best to do that?
So I actually just probably a month ago, I'm in the process of cracking the nut on that. It took me a long time to figure out how to do that. And the bottom line is the BXPX contract for books is managed by a company. The name escapes me this second, but I found the program manager for that. And I shot him an email with my title and I said, hey, would you mind carrying this? And he sent me back a little intake form and said, hey, send me 2 review copies, fill out this information, and then we'll take a look at it. I mean, I mailed that off probably a week ago, so I don't know if they'll accept it. But basically, I was like, hey, look, I'm within striking distance of the Fort Benning PX. I live near Eglin. It's an infantry story. More than happy to engage on any of this. And honestly, I'm probably just going to poke that guy a little bit, like, call him up, hey, did you receive it? Just to, be the squeaky wheel, and then hopefully get that book on the shelves, in exchanges across at least the southeast, ideally, country. But so I have not cracked the nut all the way yet, but I think we've at least got a little bit of an in, and I'm hoping it works.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So I got the email address to the manager, and this is for MacDill and Patrick. We live on the Space Coast, so Patrick Space Force based on one side, and MacDill's on the other side where SOCOM's at. So, I had met an older gentleman who was, he was at the Eglin Air Force Base, sitting at a table with him and his wife, and they were selling copies of stories of the air raids in England when he was a kid. And so I bought a copy, and then I asked him, hey, so how did this work? And as far as he said, hey, if you show up with your own books, he goes, there's 2 ways of doing it. You could try doing the vendor thing where you got to go online and you got to register and you got to become an approved vendor. And then someone, like you said, that person, that PM goes, yeah, we'll accept your book and we'll sell it on the shelf somewhere in the BX. But I'm talking about like sitting at a desk out front at the BX, where the vendors all sell their other stuff, right? Ball caps and pins and all that. And the assistant manager told me that you do not have, like, I probably will not have to sign up for, as a vendor. If we show up with a bunch of, but he did say you have to go to the local BX exchange managers and go, hey, and if they go, yeah, you could get some table space. And I forgot the percentage that he said that, that you have to give to the BX, but he said it's really reasonable. So, because again, we're looking at buying a bunch up front, and if we do, another order, and we're trying to kick this off at the Air Commando Association symposium pre-sales, or at least the announcement, because I don't think we're going to have anything in hand. And the goal is 3 weeks later is to actually have something in hand for Soft Week, and again, the first couple hundred of these books are going to be your bros, right, that buy them.
Yep.
Right. That, they're, I got buddies that are all like, hey dude, when's the book coming out? Right. That kind of thing. So, and they're all uncles to her. So, I think that'll help. And obviously some of these folks, were around us, in our time of need, and helped us and all that. So that's why we're making this a big part of our marketing, is not so much to see how many books we sell, but because we're trying to pay back to our communities that we came from.
No, that makes perfect sense. And I think that model's sound. And I think that kind of personal, jumpstart, like jumper cables kind of situation, is critical, because they're the people who probably take the time to actually go on Amazon and just leave you a review. Like you've got to get at least a couple of those up front. And I'll be honest, I kind of lean on friends and family to do that too. Yeah. Like people who are in the story, other guys who are like, hey, I'll send you the free copy because you were there, but do you mind logging in and just, review this? And usually I find those people pretty amenable to it.
I have a question on that, actually, piggybacking. How important is Goodreads reviews versus Amazon reviews, have you found? Or have you engaged with Goodreads at all?
So I actually have a weird relationship with Goodreads. They don't believe that I'm me. Like, they have my books attributed to me, and they have extra books attributed to me, but I cannot claim my account on Goodreads. And so I've emailed them. I'm like, hey, it's me, I promise. They're like, nah, our little AI filter won't accept that you're you. I'm like, I don't know. I do have a bunch of reviews on Goodreads. I don't know if they matter. I don't know if they matter or not. I guess I have no metric to kind of show, but it does show on Amazon how many Goodreads, clicks it has. And
so it will actually show up on your book account. It's connected to your Amazon. It's just not connected to you.
Exactly. It's connected to the title. Right. So they know that Daniel Pace wrote this. They just won't believe that I'm Daniel Pace. And I don't know. I can't figure out the why. I think it's probably because I maybe registered with Bookreads under a dump account a long time ago. And so there's some kind of like two-factor problem there, but I've not managed to crack the nut. So I'm a faceless author on Goodreads.
So interesting. Here's a glitch we ran into with KDP.
Before you, Dan's only got like 10 minutes. So
okay. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, is there a presentation part you want to do? Because I'm sorry. I know we went right to the Q&A.
No, this is all about you. There's no
okay.
And honestly, I'm available after this. If you want to exchange email addresses, you can email me. We can talk anytime. I mean, I'm happy to do it on the podcast, but happy to answer questions offline too. And honestly, I'm happy to ask some questions, because if you do audio dramas, and you guys probably know a lot of things I would like to know as well.
That's her bailiwick. That's her bailiwick.
Me. I've done not just audio dramas, but podcasts, narrative podcasts, documentary podcasts, audiobooks, done the gamut. So
I would love to talk that another time, because that's so many. It's a whole nother side of this.
Yes, it is.
But please, John, what you got? What other, or was that too? What questions?
So when I was setting up our KDP account, so again, we're going the route of the LLC that we set up, right, for the business part of it, right, and it's the title of the book, Walk, Run, Fly, again, LLC, right, and we already got all that stuff. We're working on the trademark and copyright, all that stuff that goes with it. So I try to I start to set up the account, and then I put the phone number, which is still my personal phone number, which is tied to my AOL account, personal, Amazon account with not necessarily Prime, because my wife has the Prime, but all my Kindle books, for decades. And so when I type the phone number in, they go, there's already an account set up, right? Even though after I do the OTP and all that stuff and check double, and then I end up researching it, and there's a glitch there. Unless I have a separate phone number, I have to log in. I had to log in with my original personal email account, and even though I went into KDP and set up the EIN and all the bank information for the LLC that owns the book or will own the book, I still had to use that. And then I couldn't share the account with Lisette.
Yep. I have the same
In
problem.
fact, and I went on Reddit and I read other stuff where people are like, hey, be careful, because if I give her my login and she logs in from Virginia, right?
It'll lock
And-
it down.
And they automate, all their AI crap picks it up, they'll lock you out in a heartbeat. And so I haven't gotten to that. So I'm like, Lisette, darling, we're gonna have to probably sit down, and you and I are gonna have to go, because
Screen
we're
share or
trying
whatever.
we're trying to narrow down, hey, paperweight, font, all those details, and the keywords and all that stuff. I go, we got to sit down and do this together, because they said eventually, again, if she sets up her own KDP account, that we could merge the two. So I don't know if that.
Yeah, if you have
Yeah.
experience with trying to deal with someone else who's maybe either co-author or co-manager of the book or of the account.
So I do Amazon advertising. I have one administrator. You can add an administrator to your Amazon advertising account when you get there. I've never added an administrator to my KDP, so I'm unsure how that would work, but I do have it all tied to my personal, even though, like you, it all pays into an EIN and an account that's for the LLC, but it's tied to my personal because there's just no other way I can find to actually get that to work. I've tried registering a seller's account. I've tried going through that process, and I'll be honest, you get everything you need at a KDP with a personal anyway. I haven't seen anything that I can't do using it. And since the advertising account can have a delegated manager, that's where I need my primary, engagement from, the guy that helps me with marketing. So I don't do a multi-login on KDP, but I am sympathetic to that pain. I do travel a lot, and so I frequently get that same.
Who the hell are you? Sorry, can I say that?
You say whatever you want. I'm pretty sure. But no, so I don't have any more insight than that, unfortunately. But I share your pain. It is quite painful sometimes.
Yeah. Yep. Trying to get, especially double management, dealing with the actual digital account setup. But
oh gosh, I'm sorry. One detail on this that if you haven't already solved this problem, you'll want to be careful when you do your multiple editions. That if you're adjusting the trim size of your document between them, you're going to cause yourself multiplicative, like huge complication in internal formatting errors, especially as you move from Amazon doing Spark and work all those together. So my first hardback, I published the hardback in a different size than the paperback because I thought it would probably look aesthetically more pleasing. It made me a lot of extra work. I highly caution you to not do that unless you're just
so to
on
have
fire
the
with
same to have the same size in paperback as in hardcover, as in Dust Jacket.
Exactly. I did 6x9 for all of them on this one. I'm like 6x9. Keep it 6x9. I did a 5.5 by something 8 maybe for my last hardback because this looks cooler. Not worth the trouble at all. It was way more pain to reformat that between them, and I had tons of just trickle down errors while I tried to reformat and make it work. You will need a different cover template, even if your sizes are the same. So just be prepared to do that, and then your cover templates will be touchy when you upload them to other platforms like Ingram or BookVault. Amazon's is the pickiest in my experience, but it's also the one that gives you the best fidelity on how it looks. Ingram in particular, I felt like I was throwing it into the dark. It's like cover accepted. I'm like, wait, could you show me? BookVault does a little 3D mock-up, which works pretty well. You're like, okay, that kind of looks right. I get it. Ingram really was a crapshoot, so I was like a little hesitant. Just some lessons learned on that one. It is worth the trouble of hiring somebody to do your cover if you.
We have already. We're way ahead of that. And
have we shared the cover with you, Randy?
No.
No. Oh.
Wait. Yeah. I saw it.
Okay.
Just as long as you got that, you're good. The only other thing is if you're shooting for a soft week release, just bear in mind that the production time and like the approval time on interior formatting and then getting it to a go it's longer than you might think, unless you've already done that, and then don't worry about it. But it takes me a good couple of weeks to get the interior formatting just right. You got to order a proof. I strongly encourage everybody to order a proof. With Amazon, you can order one, but it won't be a pre-sale proof because it's going to have not for sale printed all over it. So you can order your proof and check it out, but it's not going to be something you'd want to distribute. But man, if you don't get it, I swear the first time you open the book, you're going to see immediately like 3 errors. It's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, give yourself plenty of time. If you want those books in hand, like it takes me 2 to 3 weeks from the time I hit order on like 30 books from BookVault to the time it actually arrives at my house. It's longer than you might think.
Yeah, that's something that we're definitely already looking into to get everything get the manuscript lock at over a month ahead of time. So that's
For sure.
our plan.
So much pain. The final editing, I don't know what it is. There's always at least one like period with an extra
Yeah,
space. There's always
I mean,
something.
and it's the same in any other, detailed project. It's that
Yeah.
last, right? The details that and yeah, at some point you got to go. Well, like Lee said today, I got a bunch of ads and changes, to the manuscript itself because the names, the folks are going, yeah, put me in there. I found out some other more detailed stuff. I'm going in to change it today, and my wife's just like, John, when are you going to stop? Right? What?
Never, because you'll keep doing it after you publish.
Wait till you get her edits back before you
Yeah.
change it.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Did
Yeah.
you submit? Did you submit for DoD pre-publication review? I just want to ask if you started the
So
process.
the SOCOM PAO, he did call me back and he goes, dude, I want to see the book. I just want to see, he goes, I'll work with you. They actually want to read it. So I'm hoping, Randy did a good pass. Go ahead. Go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry. You were muffled.
It doesn't have to be perfect. You can send them this copy.
Okay. All
I
right.
sent mine pretty early. I sent mine early. There's still a lot of errors. Like it's not
just
formatted correctly.
I'll
You got
send it.
already in there.
Yeah, I'll send it today then. Yeah, I'll send it today.
It took them 4 months to review my book.
Okay,
Just
but
give you a heads up to get like
do
a
we
final
have-
stamp of approval.
so I know Randy had told me of some other horror stories, right? And some people just went ahead and printed it, right? We're going anyway. And so, well, now that I'm technically with, at least that's the author, I'm the with, they could still, if someone's pissed off. But again, I got some pretty senior folks. I mean, I saw like Petraeus wrote one of your forwards, right? And I gotta believe, that he probably gave you some advice or something, or
I mean, it's just making sure that like ODark 30, you don't want to be the guy that publishes something that is dramatically out of lines. They didn't edit anything. They had me take out one operational name in my last book. They're like, change this to operation, like done, easy.
Yep.
It was like Control F 2 words. They really don't mind that much, but I mean, I still hold a security clearance. I don't know about you. I still sometimes do work with the DoD. I just don't want to bump into a situation when they're all of a sudden like, you broke the rules. Like,
yeah,
right.
I got it. Yeah. So I'll send that today because God knows how long it'll take. I mean, and I'll say, hey, look, we're trying to get this out by soft week. And I mean, I think we did a decent job of scrubbing anything that's, we're not talking about any sensitive operations. There are some people in the book whose names I can't put out there, right? For various reasons. I mean, one of them was the commander of Dev Group when they got Bin Laden.
Oh,
who
makes
was
sense.
like a key figure in my recovery. And so I can't put his name in there.
I think that's the case with any memoir, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
once you put it out there, it's permanent. And
Right.
I try to make sure that anybody that has anything contentious in my books, I at least sterilize the name.
Yeah.
And then anybody that's kind of fuzzy, I just reach out to the guy. You know the deal. If I can't get a hold of him, I sterilize the name. But I'm sure you've already done all this.
Yeah, in fact, I'm finishing up. Finishing up all the phone calls. I got 2 more calls to make, and because and even folks that go, look, I didn't even reference you in the book, by name, but
Mhm.
it's your character, and like Jeremy was the one who was wholehearted. He goes, John, this is all the other books that they try to get my name in, he goes, this is the one I want my name in.
That's awesome. That's good. I mean, again, it's permanent. You just want to make sure that everybody's happy with the things that you wrote.
No,
'Cause
and I
never had, like,
sent
a
the
cease and
excerpts
desist.
out
I
too.
want that.
And I said, hey, by the way, obviously my daughter took some artistic, leeway in some of these discussions and stuff, but I've sent out the excerpts because I want to go, hey, if you said no bullshit, this is what I said, or this is no, I've already given them the option to opt out on any of those things.
Yeah, for sure. The same thing.
'Cause,
I think
yeah,
that's good
you
practice.
know, like you said, once it's printed, it's out there forever. And these are my brothers. So I got to
100%.
do right by them.
Well, it's been great talking to y'all. I got to run. I
Daniel,
have a backstop.
thank,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. For the
Already-
exchange contact info, you know, Randy will send it to me.
I already sent an email to all three of you, so you guys all got the emails. Don't worry about it.
Perfect. Let's continue the conversation. I would love to. I mean, again, I'll field any questions you got, and I'll probably ask a few myself. And then,
Yeah.
just good luck. Good luck with the release. That's awesome. It sounds like you really
All
got a
right.
strong foundation for it. I'd love to see.
Thank-
Hell, I don't want to read it. It'll be good.
And good luck to the rest of your stuff too. God bless you. Thank you.
Likewise. Thanks, y'all, and I appreciate it.
So I'm just going to end the stream, and then we'll talk. Hold on.
Do you want to, I mean, you want to talk right after this?